You are listening to the Marc Guzman Podcast Experience.
So next topic is Zestimates and the future of appraisals. So, thought you had the sound off.
I did too.
Okay, so recently, a judge threw out a Zillow antitrust lawsuit over the placement of price estimates. And it's funny, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of hate with Zestimates. I see a lot of clients that really stick to those Zestimates as if they're worth, it proves their equity and proves that their property is worth more than what it is.
And again, put things in perspective. We're talking about Zillow and Zestimates. And for those of you who don't know, in the industry, among realtors, we all know that the values that come from Zillow tend to be highly inflated. So what Marc's alluding to is there are some people who just love, even though they have no intention to sell their property, logging into their Zestimate of their home because they see this inflated value. Makes them feel better, I guess.
Zestimate addiction, which is a real thing. I know so many people that check Zestimates on a weekly, sometimes on a daily basis, because they want to see what prices are doing, especially when it comes to their property. Now, with that in mind,
I guess it's like checking stock and going, look, my stock went up a lot.
Yeah,
I haven't sold it, but it went up a lot.
Yeah, the problem though is many people don't understand how the Zestimate really works. Now, I'm not saying we understand exactly how it works. It's Zillow's algorithm that is and it constantly changes. But even Zillow knows that their algorithm is not accurate. In fact, they have a yearly competition on who can come up with a more accurate Zestimate.
The other aspect of this too is you got to understand Zillow's business model was to attract owners who might be looking to sell, right? So they log in, they check the value. Usually when an owner is asking about a value, it's because they're interested in selling. So they make their money not from people checking their value, but by connecting that person, checking their value to a realtor who will buy that lead. So of course, if you're thinking about selling, you want to give a person a slightly inaccurate value. And again, that point will be important to segue back into what we're talking about. And so when you log in, you check your value. Oh, look, my property's worth more. I never thought about selling it, but now I really might. Zillow makes that money by selling that lead or contact of the owner to a realtor willing to buy it. So that was their primary focus before. And so that's how their Zestimates or their algorithms are put in. So it's kind of counterproductive if you think about it.
Now, when Zillow first started, they had very few resources to actually pull up comparables because no one had heard of Zillow, and Zillow was trying to make connections with multiple listing services that agents use in order to list properties and keep the data of closed sales. So for Zillow, when they first started, many of their resources for closed sale data came from the public tax records. The problem with that is public tax records are updated as sales, but may also include refinances within these sales. And so it was very inaccurate. So for those of you that remember Zestimates way back in the day when they first launched it, they were horribly inaccurate to a point where they had to admit that there was a margin of error by 40%.
Yeah, so now fast forward to today where you have this really high-powered CEO who is selling his property, but because Zillow actually went the opposite direction. They actually priced it significantly less than what he actually had it listed on the market for, which of course then makes it difficult to sell his multi-million-dollar property, and that individual decides to sue Zillow.
Now this is going to segue into the future of appraisals because I think because Zillow is every year doing a competition on how do they come up with the best Zestimate, right? And in fact, there were two gentlemen that won that got some big prize, like $600,000 or something like that. It was a big prize for them, and they were able to narrow down that margin of error.
Yeah,
but
their product is slowly getting better, just because as I started out talking about, their values were a little inflated, so I'm sure that word's gotten back to them, and they finally decided that, well, then maybe we should start slowly cleaning up our algorithm to get a better price that's more accurate. And they're slowly getting there, but they're not quite there yet.
I wonder why they haven't invested in the AI bots or buying a company that has AI bots. There's companies out there where And this is new technology coming out. You have Fannie Mae and various lenders already testing automated appraisals. Basically, what happens is you as the appraiser or the property owner will go through and take interior photos of your entire property. This AI bot is able to identify all your upgrades: tile, granite, tile flooring, laminate, carpet, type of paint. The bot goes through and identifies all these quality upgrades, and then it uses that to compare to other sales and those type of upgrades, and then it's able to do an automated appraisal. So essentially wiping out the needed appraiser to go through the property, take photos, and do this fancy report.
And thank goodness Skynet is sending out those types of appraiser bots as opposed to killer cyborgs trying to wipe us out.
Okay, topic.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you to our producer, Sam Lemon. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share the podcast. Remember, you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Google Play, SoundCloud, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. For more information on my business as a property manager and real estate team, go visit my website at marcguzman.com. I really want to thank all of you for listening. It means the world to me, and I hope today's episode provides you value in your day-to-day life. I created this podcast to help showcase the many great people that live in this world and help share some knowledge that I've learned along the way in life. Again, thank you for listening. Check out our sponsors, and I'll catch you on the next episode.